Welcome back to Animal Crossing New Horizons. I'm Dear Darling. I shall see what's going on on our lovely island of Fawnhallow today, where honestly I don't really know why I'm recording so late anyway. I'd just like, where did the time go? But here we are at 11 p.m. What are we going to talk about today? That is a great question. I guess we can talk about more of what I did over weekend. I say more, there wasn't actually that much in the first place. I only did a couple of things. Like I mentioned a couple of days ago, went to like a hot air balloon festival. And it was cool, to be perfectly honest, but there's not really much more else to say about that. So, good evening everyone. Right now in Fawnhallow, it's 11:12 p.m. on Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. But there is one other thing I could talk about, so it's only a conversation which really lasts 2 days. Because I also got some others cool things today. Like I finally bought a new SSD. So I have a drive which is going to be specifically for storage of things. And if I did things correctly, this is where today's current video is being recorded into. So now I don't have to basically constantly be deleting my videos because I don't have storage space anymore. This one's like 1 terabyte of data. So my two 500GB ones are completely fine before. One with my operating system, one with all my games and applications, and then this one can just be pure data, which is fantastic. It's like, oh, I needed this probably for so long. It was not fun trying to juggle basically especially video file sizes. Like whenever I was recording both Talos Principle and when I was playing the game, what's it called? Glitter Missing Grove, that's it. Or Frog Fractions 2, as you might properly know it as. The file sizes were getting huge. They were getting like 50 gigabytes for the live stream video, and I was like, oh my god. It was large enough that I couldn't actually finish recording the video. I had to export it from Twitch to my YouTube channel directly, which is probably why I think that if you watch that VOD, I think that VOD is like lower quality than the others, because I was just like, I literally could not I didn't have a storage space. I couldn't even delete things to make room for it. But anyway, not the point. What we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about I'm not really sure what I'm going to title the episode. I guess like camping pod, maybe. I'm not really sure, but basically we went to a festival, the Hot Air Balloon Festival, and because it finished quite late and it was like a bit of a journey back, my friends were like, we're going to stay at Airbnb overnight, and I was like, sure, fine. I actually found out like very little information about it, to be perfectly honest, which is not incredibly unusual, I would say. Normally my friends would definitely like let me know. You might be like, did you organise any of us? And I was like, no, I'm going to be perfectly honest. I assume it's something we had in private DM conversations. Totally reasonable. So they were just like, hey there, darling, we're going to stay at an Airbnb because it finishes quite late. And I was like, that makes sense. Perfectly reasonable thing. But it was actually kind of interesting because leading up to that moment and a lot of things I was saying sort of like triggered like, I don't even know. I guess it goes to show how well I know my friends, or we know each other, I should say. That like something like scratched in the back of my mind where I was like, something feels a bit weird about all this. But basically, the long short, it was like meant to be a surprise location. Like my expectation when they told us that we were going to stay in an Airbnb was like, we're just going to stay in like a random flat or something. I don't know, but what we ended up staying in is we ended up staying in like a camping pod on a farm. Essentially, it was super small. It was basically like a tiny bedroom. And now I think about it, like I used to have bedrooms like that size when I was much younger. There was basically, it can fit a bed and it could fit a desk. In this case, it fitted like a double sort of pull out quote mattress and another like single mattress. So literally the three of us, I can literally only fit that side by side. Like if I were to demonstrate it, like imagine it was sort of like a long room. It had the double bed in like the back right corner, and then the single bed in the front left corner, and it would like just fit. And then in the front right corner there was like a table, and there was like nothing in the back left corner. It was literally very minimalist. and it was just like staying on this farm. There was obviously like there were bathroom facilities, but we had to like leave outside and walk like a couple minutes to get to them, and there were like animals about and that sort of thing. And it was also honestly a pretty cool experience. It was basically like the way I think I ended up describing it afterwards is like it's kind of basically the same as us camping, except for we had a much fancier tent. So which you might be like, is that like glamping? But apparently one of my friend's brothers called it like glumping or something. So it's sort of like, it's somewhere in between camping and glamping. Because it was not particularly luxurious, but it's definitely like a step up from camping, but it's definitely a step down from glamping. But it was actually a pretty nice experience. Because they were like saying things all the time, like about this Airbnb we're staying at, and obviously the first thing he said was meant to be like sort of weird hint thing, and I was like, okay, what is wrong with this Airbnb? Why are you... I can't remember how my friend described it, but he said it in such a weird way where I thought I was like, maybe he's joking. And then my other friend, who is not very good at hiding like jokes or that sort of thing, like that, like it's not you know, bless his heart, of course, it's not as great as hiding like when something's up, you know, or like running over a joke without laughing. Basically sort of reinforced that. I was like, oh, okay, something is definitely up with his Airbnb. But there's some like really strange descriptors of it, like the fact it had no floors, the fact it had no ceiling, the fact that we would expect like 10 people in there or something, or 10 guests, as they said. And I was just like, what on earth is going on? Like, why are you describing it in such a weird way? But I think I essentially did guess it. Like, one of my guesses is like we are literally just like sleeping on the road, and I was like, that sounds strange. But my proper guess was like, I assume we're doing like some sort of glamping thing, because it feels like we should be doing some sort of camping thing, except for I was not told to basically bring any camping things whatsoever. So I can't imagine they brought all of that. So I was like, it must be glamping or something, or like we're staying in like a caravan trailer or something. Which I was like, I guess I was kind of like, I'm not really sure why this is like such a celebration, not a celebration, but like a special event, I suppose. I was just like, we've done camping before like a couple of times. I guess it's unique in the sense that this is a surprise one, which we did for one night. But yeah, and then we got there. We ended up like turning up at the farm at like midnight, so it was like pitch black. We were trying to figure out how to even open the gates, where to even go, and like we pulled up super late. Like there was another family staying in like a camping pod, like a slightly bigger camping pod next to us, I think. And we just like turned up and we just like went to the bathroom, and it was like, I said it kind of. Like when we were driving it, I was like, it's kind of like we're in a horror movie or something, because it's obviously like midnight with just like random sign like being like, oh, go to this place or this place. And like the bathroom itself was connected to like, not a horse stable, like a horse, like a walking area, like a training area, I guess. I'm not really sure what it's called, to be honest. The sign on the bathroom, like toilets as well, was like, be careful, there might be sheep inside, there might be horses or something. And I was just like, this is really funny, this is such farm life sort of thing. And the toilet slash shower slash bathroom was basically just the one thing. And I think there were more people staying in like different areas of the farm. I guess like it's not too uncommon, I assume, in the end, for farmers to like rent out their land for people just staying, because like the first time we went camping as a group, we stayed on basically a farm. It was so cheap, by the way. That was like £10 a night, I think, per person, or something. That's like what it equated to. And it was basically just like go out onto one of the farmers' fields and just like camp. You can, they have actually they had pretty good like toilet and washroom facilities, to be honest. They had like a hot shower place, and I was like, this is actually kind of sick. But yeah, it was honestly quite an amusing surprise. I say this all the time, I'm not like someone who cares, I think, as much for surprises. I say that like, if you want to surprise me, you should tell me that to expect something, but don't tell me what to necessarily expect, I suppose, which is always a hard thing to go about, because, you know, I like things to be planned. I like things to be sort of, you know, I like to be prepared. But today, this was just like one night, so it really didn't make a difference. the only thing I was saying was like, okay, this place like does not have like a easy accessible bedside table. Would have been cool if I had a glasses case. Probably would have been cool if I had like a towel as well. But that's fine. Honestly, as I say, I said this to my friends. I was like, for one night, you know, you can like stay anywhere, to be perfectly honest, like even whatever. Like you can kind of deal with anything. If it was like multiple night things and they didn't tell me, I would have been, you know, appreciative of the symbolic gesture, but also been like, I don't work that way. Like if it's a multi-night thing, you got to tell me. Like at least give me more warning or something. But I was actually saying, like, as I mentioned before, like I got the impression something was up, like in the back of my head. Actually, like surprisingly early, I just like didn't say anything. Like the first thing was the fact that they said it was an Airbnb, but then they didn't like tell me anything about the Airbnb, which did strike me as a little bit weird. Because normally this friend would be very sort of like, here's the details, you know, I've forwarded the email like confirmation and stuff towards you, this is the location, etc, etc. He's very good at making sure that everyone has all the details, which is great. I very much appreciate it. So I did try to find it a bit weird that he was just like, oh, we're doing this and that's it, and I was like, okay. Didn't think anything, although I was like, I'm not going to question it, you know, maybe he just didn't want to, and I was just like, it's an Airbnb for one night, like, oh, what do I need to know, to be honest. The other thing what I also thought was a bit weird was on the day when we were like getting ready to like go to a festival, that sort of thing, he was I can't remember exactly what he said, but he said something like, remember to bring stuff, and one of the things he said to remember bringing was, hey, remember also to bring like a battery pack. And I remember when I saw that, I was like, oh yeah, I think all you need are clothes, toiletries, and a battery pack. And I remember reading that and being like, something about this is a bit strange. And it wasn't until later when I thought about it more, when I was like, oh, the thing I think is strange is that it's very strange it was like, hey, remember to like bring a battery pack, because at the time I was like, oh, maybe he's saying that for my other friend, because I'm the one who definitely always brings a battery pack. Okay, maybe not always the one, but like my friend even said, like, I'm pretty sure I used your battery pack more than you've used it, and I'm like, I actually think that's true. But like, because I bring a handbag to most places, I'm like, it's more convenient if I bring a battery pack, because otherwise battery pack's a bit annoying to, I know like men's pockets or whatever, you can fit like whatever you want in there, but like I have a handbag, and like it's a lot easier for me to just pop a battery pack in there or something. And toiletries was like a very normal thing, clothes and toiletries, and I was like, it's a bit odd to specify, like I did kind of expect that for an overnight stay, but still. But there was something about like specifying specifically, hey dear darling, remember to like bring a battery pack. It wasn't explicitly said like that, but like it like tickled something in the back of my brain and being like, that's weird, I wonder why he said that. And you might be like, that's not weird to say that, and it's not, which is why obviously I didn't say anything, because it's a very sane thing to say. But you know, as I say, it goes to show that like the level of like how well our friends know each other. I guess the thing that sort of tickled my brain would be like, this friend would probably know that I would bring a battery pack, so it seemed a bit strange to me to specify. There was also some other things like on the day which were definitely weird. Like we drove there and we were going in a friend's car, and I was like, oh, like should I put my bag in the back? And he was like, no, you can't put anything in the back. And I was like, immediately, like that was the most obvious sign. I was like, okay, they've got something in there which I can't look at, I guess. I'm not exactly sure why. Obviously, like later found out it was like things like pillows in a duvet or something. But you know, as I found out later, when they started saying weird things about the Airbnb, I was like, maybe it's like supplies in my head. I should have definitely put the two and two together. I'm trying to think what other things were like weird signs about it. I think those are the main ones. Oh yeah, there was also a thing, I can't even remember what my friend said, but he tried to refer to something to me. I can't remember what he was talking about. I think he was actually talking about the battery pack. This is the other friend, and he accidentally called it a sleeping bag, which in my mind I was like, that is a really weird thing to like call it. And he said he was genuinely just like messed up because he was thinking about sleeping bags or something. Because like they had to bring a sleeping bag to the location. But like at the time, and I didn't say anything about it because I was like, whatever, I knew what he meant anyway. He was talking But it did strike me as a little bit weird. I was like, I wonder why did he say sleeping bag instead of battery bag? Like, that's such a weird, like, Freudian slip. Anyway, if anything, it just sort of goes to show how well we know each other as friends. And the farm place was actually pretty cute. Like, it was at midnight when we came, so like all the animals were sleeping. There's basically nothing that we could properly see. Excuse me. But then, like, yeah, at midnight it was like super dark, and I'm gonna look through my photos now, and we can't see anything. Like I had some videos. There's a video of like my friend failing to open the gate, but then like morning time came round, and then we were just like looking around all like the farmyard animals that were here and there. They had a huge pig. We had a ton of like hens. We had some goats. We had some donkeys. Can't remember what else. Is that one of them? They had horses as well. We didn't know where the horses were. They were like taken out for like a spin or something. But yeah, the pod was super small, so it was super cute as well. If anything, I think it's very cute how my friends wanted to surprise me with that sort of thing. And then me being the absolute, you know, stick in the mud I am, was like, damn, I wish I brought my glasses case and a hat. I wish I had a towel. Which in retrospect was definitely like, I don't need to bring that up. Should have just been like, wow, this is a cool thing. But for some reason, my brain doesn't accept surprises or gifts particularly well. So I apologise to my friends. It was a very lovely, honestly, it was a very lovely experience. If they're watching this, I don't know if they are. Apparently, my friends do actually watch like more videos than I thought. Like sometimes they randomly bring up like, oh, I was watching this Animal Crossing episode that you were doing, and I was like, what? You actually watched it? So it sort of boggles my mind. Weirdly, but yeah, it was just like a lovely experience. Like I believe they're called camping pod. The camping pods are actually super cute. Oh yeah, actually, if you just straight up Google camping pods, it's exactly what they look like. Our one, of course, was super small. Like these ones look very big. Ours was like teeny tiny. I thought it was super cute, honestly. I like cozy spaces. To be honest, and that was like a dream. The best thing about that was that place where we stayed was enough in the countryside. Like already I'm like a kind of in the countryside, but this was even more in the countryside. But the stars were absolutely beautiful. Like you could see the stars. You could almost see like a faint like cosmos, like a faint like space fog up in the sky. And I just spent a lot of time just sort of like staring up at the stars. And I love the stars. I love constellations and staring up at a starry sky. So it's not always that it's a rarity, I think, that you really get to see that. So anyway, I'm going to wrap this episode up here, and I'm going to go record some other videos at like midnight, because I was meant to do it earlier. I was just, you know, again, I guess I was just like lazy. So we're doing it now instead. So, you know, thank you to my friends, and if you have been watching, thank you very much. It's been Animal Crossing New Horizons. I've been Dear Darling. Likes, comments, subscription, shares, greatly appreciated. Socials, Discord down below. Hope to see each other again, but for now, it's our farewell. So until next time, bye-bye for now.